everyone, I'm Felicia Bender, the practical numerologist. I find that love and relationships is the key topic that people want more insight about. And I'm always asked why a relationship didn't work or how to attract the right partner. So oddly enough, and maybe not oddly, and yet mostly I'm asked, so let's see if you agree, I really am, I'm asked, so what is my problem, right? What am I doing wrong? What am I missing? So understand that we all have, of course, unique issues that influence the way that we engage and approach relationships, whether those are relationships with family, friends, colleagues, or lovers. And yet, knowing some of the innate challenges that you might experience always is beneficial and offers some potential insight and areas of illumination that can be useful in defining and understanding how you might, and I'm putting the emphasis on might, how you very well could present yourself in your relationship life, and what some of those shadows or challenges might be that sneak up and sabotage us, all of us, right? So you might look at both of your life path number. If you're watching this, this is for the number 1 life path, so you can watch for your life path number. I also suggest to watch for your expression, also called the destiny number. This can be compared in some ways to the rising sign in astrology. So if you also watch astrology videos here on YouTube, often you'll be asked to watch for your sun, moon, and rising. So it's very similar to looking at your full numerology profile and looking at the different components here. And yet ultimately, when looking at relationship compatibility, I also want to emphasize, I also focus on the soul urge number, or the heart's desire. This really points to the way in which you'll feel the most satisfied on a soul level. So this number is all about what you need and want on this heart level, and I find it reveals to you what you truly value, want, and need in a relationship. And if you don't know these numbers, please don't panic, no worries. You're like, oh my gosh, I just know my life path number. That's perfect, because the life path number is key. That's what we're really focusing right now. But if you want to dig a little deeper, look at the videos for the different numbers that you might have to gain a little bit of perspective about where you fall in these categories. And that's just what they are. They're suggestions. So if you are numerology curious and do want to know more, go ahead and visit FeliciaBender.com. There's a lot of more information there that you can explore about the other key numbers in your numerology chart. And since we're examining how you might push love away, that is the title here. So please don't take these observations personally. We all have issues. It just depends on how they show up for each of us. So I'm going to be pretty straightforward about these things, but position yourself, please, to look through a viewfinder of curiosity rather than judgment, because this really is designed to be informative and not critical, not judgmental, just to be able to take a step back and see why relationships may struggle, where there may be some struggling points for you as a one life path. So here is a few instances, or a few ideas or options about how you might push love away, because as a one life path, you are here to get to know yourself really, truly, and deeply from the ground up. Self with a capital S, right? So your primary purpose overall is to develop this sense of yourself through your creativity, building confidence in whatever you do. You are here to learn how to individuate yourself from others, to develop your sense of this independent self, and then get on the road to attainment and achievement. You're an action-oriented person. person. So you're meant for leadership and are an innovator. You are the most self-focused of all of the life path numbers. And what I mean by that, it's because it's your mission in life to get to know yourself on every level. So when it comes to love, the one often leans toward needing to be somewhat dominant and the one who's in charge in the relationship. The one is the leader after all. So what does a leader need? A leader needs followers, right? And so this can bleed over into relationships in a way that might not be the healthiest for you. And so while it might work for some to be that leader all the time and have your partner who's a follower, mostly it's a recipe for a very unbalanced and ultimately unhealthy and somewhat immature relationship. So you do need someone or want someone, you have a desire for someone who is your cheerleader, who is your support system, and in some ways idolizes you, right, as the one. And yet because of this, you often attract partners who are more like students, really, and that you take on, and I'm using this metaphorically, right, the student-teacher metaphor. So it's more like you're the teacher and the partner is the student, and yet when the student catches up with the teacher and sometimes surpasses the teacher, right, that's often what happens, well then that's when the unraveling begins, because the one is learning how to broaden the viewfinder, so to speak, and step outside of yourself and actually care about someone else in an unconditional way, to see someone else outside of you that doesn't totally reflect back at you, right? So the one can be fairly self-centered or self-absorbed and have difficulty seeing other people's wants and needs outside of what you define as wants and needs. So you can push love away simply by not having an awareness about other people's feelings and desires. So love itself can feel of secondary importance to you as a one, as you make your way in your work world and do what it takes to climb that ladder. And you can also be someone who distances yourself from love by doing really what's the most oxymoronic thing, which is becoming the ultimate codependent. The one is learning how to co-create and yet often finds themselves in codependent relationships, which is a very interesting endeavor, right? Interesting thing and interesting dichotomy that happens with the one. So ultimately, your success in love resides in waking up to the fact that you need to partner with someone who is your equal, right? Financially, spiritually, on every other level, in every other way. So only then will you understand how to create a thriving relationship, because in relationship, sorry to break it to you, but it's not all about you all the time. So, and yet that can be a struggle, that can be a challenge. You are such a dynamic presence, and you are an amazing partner when you step into the playing field and toss the ball back and forth, so to speak. Use that metaphor. We're going to continue with that metaphor. You're really working at kind of not hogging the ball all the time as the captain of the team. Toss the ball back and forth and partner with someone in a true partnership. So the way that you can push love away is by having a lack of self-esteem, having that lack of self-confidence, right? And being more self-focused or self-centered. And yet your gold star, what is your gold star as a partner, as a lover, as in relationship, is to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Try to make that a practice. Put yourself in someone else's shoes to kind of take you out of yourself and go, oh, how can we work this in a dynamic way rather than as just my way? The second one would be to work at the give and take in relationship. Make that a conscious effort. and enjoy the pleasures and surprises that happen when you allow others to contribute their stuff to the relationship, where you're not the one always laying out the ground rules and making everyone else fit into what your concept of the relationship might be.
Time and so little to see. Wait a minute. Strike that. Reverse it.